Welcome to the Mage part of the tripod warning video, guys. The one that took the most advantage from the tripod change is probably Bard to me, because to me, in my roster, Bard is the only class that I switch skills around, and I'm pretty sure most people know this as well. And what does that mean? If you have to use a new skill, if you have a new tripod in there, it's great. Bard doesn't need that much tripod, and as you guys may know, you don't have to spend money for damage tripods for Bard. As a support, you're not meant to do damage. What is more important is your meter gain, which is Prelude of Storm. You have the meter gain here, and then you have the cooldown. So Guardian Tune, if you're playing Swift, you can just spam it if you want to, that's fine. But if you're playing Spec, or if you're playing a Swift that just has a little bit less Swift with a shorter cooldown, what's important is you need to use Guardian Tune, assuming that someone is going to get CC'd. Cuckoo is going to fire his Fear Laser. If you want to react to it, you need the fast cast. Because if you're using Tenacity, you're practically assuming the future and casting it. So having this particular thing and trying out is so good. For example, this particular one, as finishes, it gives you a shield. This one increases the defense rate. So if you can utilize the skill perfectly before your party mates are getting hit, if you use it, this may be a little bit more efficient, as Lustboy said during our Spec Bard interview and the Spec Bard guides. Having these two tripods pre-ready to go is a very good idea. And then as for Soundholic, same case. You have the Melody Gain one. Melody Gain one is rarely used. It's because most people use this one because Soundholic is often used for stagger. But this particular one, for meter gain, the laser turns green and sometimes used by Spec Bards. This one is cooldown related. So for Soundholic, this particular skill increases cooldown by 3 seconds. But if you level it up to 5, this cooldown penalty is negated. Now going back to another skill choices that you have. For example, Dissonance. Dissonance is also a pretty good skill, I think. So you have the Melody Gain skill tripod here, which I leveled it up. And this particular skill, for 2 seconds, for 6%, up to 30% damage decrease on the boss. So this particular tripod was used for Gate 4 in Broshaza and Kayangil second gate, is because when bosses do too much damage, utilizing this tripod is actually a good idea. So this is a lively rhythm. It's a homing missile, so it will slowly follow the boss. But if you notice here, if you have it as level 1, it increases 4 seconds on the cooldown. But if you level it to 5, it increases only 2 seconds. So you can actually spam this skill and put markings on it. So as in, you can actually use Dissonance for a Conviction Judgment if you want to. Next one, so you also have Stigma. Stigma is also the same case. This is a homing, but it doesn't impact cooldowns or anything else. It's just damage. And also impacts meter gain at the third tripod. So you have these two tripods as well, right? The Rhapsody skill, we have the quick cast, and then we have the cooldown, and then you have the mana, less mana. But this is like pretty useless, but I just happen to have it. There's quick cast, and then there's cooldown. So which one's better? So I thought cooldown one was better, so I was using cooldown, but I've realized that if you use the cooldown one, the casting is a little slower, right? The main point of the conversation that we were having to do, leveling these two together is a good idea, right? So why not invest it? In the same case for this particular tripod, where it increases the effectiveness of Rhapsody. Even if you don't use Rhapsody at all, you have to have this up, you know, like just level it up, because you have a lot of tripods left over. Just even if you have one page open, you have additional tripods for you to take over. A lot of the people have not been investing on tripods for Bards, but if you invest into tripods on a lot of the different skills, you have the freedom to go switch up skills around. Let's say you guys are progging Broshaza Gate 4. If everyone's dying so much, if everyone's saying, oh, this hurts, like all this attack hurts and all this stuff, you have an option to take Dissonance, and your Dissonance has the tripod ready to go if you have prepared early, right? These are the stuff that I want to make sure to tell the Bard mains, that invest into tripods. You will thank yourself later, because some of these things that are really good to do. If you're planning to play Spec Bard as well, March is a really good skill too, because it has the meter gain tripod as well. And we also forgot one more skill, Harp. Harp is also one of the tripod. This is very important. This increases the Harp's lasting time. If you level up to 5, it's 4.5 seconds. If you level it up to 1, it's only 2 seconds. It's almost double the existence time. So you only have a downtime of about 1 to 2 seconds, or even less than. It's less than 2 seconds. If you have the full tripod, and then if you have the level 9 gem on the harp, your downtime for marking is only like 1 second compared to Sound Shock, where you have to consistently land it, right? And also Chaos Dungeon. I don't like Bard Chaos Dungeon. You know, that's why I leveled up the damage related tripod for Prelude of Storm. Bard Solo is pretty fast if you actually level up the proper tripods, guys. With that being said, let's move over. So Summoner is not out, but you can talk just slightly about Summoner. So my Summoner is the old build. It's the Swiftness build with double class engraving as level 1. The build stuff is going to be, I'm going to make a guide for Summoner later, asking some of my Summoner friends in the future anyways, but I wanted to share that there are some tripods that you need to level up. So Summoner is a class that needs 18 tripods as well, so it's very important. While I'm talking about this, I just realized that Summoner and Reaper is coming out probably after tripod change, right? If it's before, you guys are in luck, but if it comes out after, all 18 of these tripods needs to be put manually. It's going to be a lot of money, a lot of payouts, guys. Covering up a little bit, Shruti is a skill where it's like a buff where you can either give crit rate or you can either give movement speed. I guess a spec related summoner can use Shruti for movement speed, or in my case, I have a lot of Swift, so I put Shruti on crit rate, so I get 11.8% crit rate additionally by just casting this skill. I did a 0 to Giga Chad on Summoner before. It's all covered in there, and you will need to focus on the Sphere, which is one of the main DPS skill. But I could have leveled up, instead of the cooldown, I could have leveled up the fast casting as well, because it actually does a lot too. The funny part is this particular Ancient Spear, it got a buff where the casting time is decreased, so most people went cooldown instead. The same case here, we have attack ready for the swamp skill. And other than that, and then you have the damage skill for this is the damage skill where I just level up to 5, and the summons are the main damage source for me for this particular build. So I put level 5 on all the summons. 544, and then 544. I do regret it a little bit, because if I have opened the page and put in 6 more tripods or even 12 more tripods by opening on another page, I could have, you know, made Summoner like a little stronger, like, or even could have been main swap, right, if it was so good, if it was my style. But you know, Summoner is not my style of gameplay, so I never bothered to look into it. But my mistake was, you know, not opening up a page and then leveling up a tripod, because she is a very tripod heavy class, I think. I am pretty sure most of my viewers are better than me at Sorc now. The knowledge of Sorc, that is. Reflux build, and then there is Ignition build. So for Ignition build, obviously you guys are leveling up the meter gain skills, right? Damaging skills, you just put it on damage. So look, as you notice here, it's 444, right? And then I have like 541 here. I wanted to play Reflux instant cast. That's why the cooldown tripod is there, and then the cooldown tripod is here, and then the mana burn skill is right here. You also use reverse gravity. I have the tripod for it. As for main DPS skills, could also have the Doomsday for it. But I tried to put Reflux instant cast build for it, because Reflux instant cast requires all the tripods to be leveled up. So these particular tripods that requires to be Reflux instant cast was, funny enough, more expensive, because not many people are doing it. If not many people are doing it, not many people are selling it, therefore the price goes up because supply is less than demand. With that being said, when you guys are playing a Sorc, if you guys are interested in going reflux casting as well, it would be very smart for you to invest into the cooldown tripods, right? But if you're just sticking with Ignition, obviously you guys would know what tripods you need, right? The meter gain tripods, the damaging tripods on your main skill, which is Doomsday, and then your Punishing Thunder, and then the elemental react as well. And it is good for you guys to search around like Loa to see like, oh, what does this guy use? What does that guy use? You list them all up, and then try to filter out 30 of them. And then if you filter out 30 of them, you open up all the 3 pages, you transfer it, and then you're ready to go. So if you do that, it is so good. Looking at here, my tripod's pretty janked up for my Sorc, but it still does so much damage for some reason. Sorc is just generally strong, that's what I feel. So it doesn't matter what build you do, she's just strong. But if you want to reach that high ceiling, you gotta work on that tripod. And this is the best way to get that there. Kind of wanted to talk more about Sorc if I knew more, but sorry. That's probably the only thing that I could think of what I did. Arcanist had a huge update where they added a new skill even, right? They switched skills around. So you have the yellow skills, you want that quick draw for 20% chance to draw the identity card. It went from 12% to 20%. And then you have the crit related one. This one is very important because it increases your crit rate and it also increases the crit damage. And then now you have your blue skills. The more important blue skills that I know for sure that most people use is this one. It increases the movement speed and it increases the attack speed as well, right? That's why Arcanas can utilize, they tend to be a little faster because of this particular tripod. Instead, swiftness. And as for blue skills, you want the cooldown because you need to land the blue skills to get the stack up to do your red skills, right? So you stack up that blue skill, so you level up those cooldown skills. So my build is actually kind of wrong because I can't rotate four red skills. So I will need to remove one of these, but I haven't really looked into it because I haven't been playing Arcana at all. But after the change, your yellow skill is going to be turned blue, because it's going to turn stacked skill. So it's a big buff. And at the same time, some of the different skills, they move differently. For example, this back flush, the new skill. The problem about new skill is the tripods doesn't exist later because people need to be picking them up. You have an option to like not use it. So it depends on your playstyle and the stuff. You got to look at your tripod and see what tripod you need and then you work accordingly. So the tripod that is very important for you, let's go over that first. The red skills need to be all max too. Like, so you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6, 7, 8. And then you have your crit tripod. And then you would have 2 pages for free. So you would have something like quick draw. And then you would have this safety tripod for 30% movement speed. And this spiral edge has a default tripod for movement speed increase anyway, so you're fine. That's why they also kind of go raid captain too, because they're max movement speed while they're attacking for the full efficiency. The 4 card though is the thing that I was kind of regretting of not leveling up, because if I leveled it up, it turns into different. This card though, this skill is actually really funny. It has a chance to reset, and it also has a chance to not use stacks. So if you actually see a really high level Arcana play sometimes, they spam that 4 card. Go and just do max, like super huge damage. And it also has a crit related tripod as well, so it increases crit rate. The reason why red skills are very important is because it increases crit rate. So it increases crit rate to 45%, increases crit rate to 44%, and also increases crit rate over here to 40%. The serendipity one increases the crit damage to 504%, and it's 20% chance per stack, right? Yep. And then this particular tripod goes a chance to reset. So my interview content with Arcana explains a little bit more detail on the tripod, so you can go back to that to check it out. But at the same time, you know, for this particular class, as I explained before, more tripod the better. While you have the guys have the chance to save up tripods, make sure you save the tripods for the red skills. Make sure you have these utility skills tripod leveled up. 100% make sure, I said make sure twice, 3 times that you level up the crit damage related tripod. Sorry. That's good. So that covered the mage section too. The mage section, unfortunately, I think the mage section was very informative. Only thing on the bard section probably, because I don't really play summoner or sorceress or arcana. So I think the video itself was kind of based on, you know, what kind of classes use heavy tripods and how should you prepare yourself. Same case for Arcana. Maybe you should look at Loawa, or maybe you should look at other players and see what they leveled up, and then transfer tripods accordingly, and then filter accordingly. And say if you have some of them, you can actually, if you actually have some of them ready, you can keep it there. Run some chaos dungeons, put it over, and then swipe it over at the same time too. With that covers the mage section.